This is the new BMW X5. It is a facelift, not a generation upgrade. And because it's an X5, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about this car in 5 points. Welcome to Evo India and welcome to our quick review of the facelifted BMW X5. Before we dive right into it, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the Evo India channel and leave a comment down below. What do you think of the way the new BMW X5 looks? Number one, the BMW X5 has got a visual update. The headlamps, they're now slimmer. The grille is illuminated and the bumper, it is quite aggressive. This is the M Sport variant. You can also get the X5 in India with the X-Line variant, which is a little more subtle. On the side, 21-inch wheels as standard on all variants. You've got the M badging on the M Sport kit. You've got that fake vent behind the wheels, which I don't really like. And over at the rear, new tail lamps, a new bumper section at the back, and the new X5 does look refreshed. It's not a radical change from before, but it does look fresher for sure. Number two, the insides have also got a refresh. If you've seen my BMW X7 review, this place is not going to seem too different. You've got the twin screens up front, one 12.3 inch, one 14.9 inch. This infotainment screen, well, it's nice and big and it's really nice on the go, but it's not the easiest to use because the icons in there are actually quite small. Over here, you've got this refreshed layout here. You've got crystalline elements in the dial, in the gear selector, and even in the start-stop button. You've got a button for your air suspension, and this layout is relatively fresh. It's more minimal. Over here on the dash, underneath the screen, there's minimal buttons. All the AC controls are now moved into the screen. You do have a hard button for your volume control, which I really appreciate. In terms of equipment, this is very well loaded. This is the M Sport, so you get a little bit more equipment than on the X-Line. For starters, you get comfortable seats. These are the comfort seats with heating and ventilation. You've got a nice Harman Kardon sound system, massive panoramic sunroof, wireless charger, 4-zone climate control, the works. What you'd expect in a luxury car like the X5, you get it all. Now I've quickly popped into the back seat because I'm sure a lot of you are interested in knowing what the X5 is like to be chauffeur driven in. And I must say, it's actually quite comfortable. But unlike the front, which is actually very similar to the X7, this is fairly different because the X7, it's a bona fide 6-seater. You get captain chairs in the middle row. Here, you get a bench. Not like this bench is uncomfortable. It's a really nice place. You can sink into it nicely. Good support, good comfort. In terms of creature comforts, like I said earlier, 4-zone climate control. You've got these cup holders over here, and you've got blinds, but you need to adjust them manually. Number three, the engine in the X5 has been updated and you now get more power. So we're driving the diesel, the 30D, and you get a 3-liter straight 6 diesel engine. However, there have been some tweaks from the older one, primarily in terms of the pistons. Previously, you used to get aluminum pistons. Now you get steel pistons, and steel pistons are more robust. They allow for higher combustion pressures and therefore you get more power. In terms of sheer outputs, you get 282 bhp and 650 Nm, which is a little bit more than what you got before. And how does it feel on the go? I'm actually quite surprised. Just last week, I drove the X7 40D and that felt effortless. But remember, that was the 40D. So I expected the 30D to feel a little bit out of breath, but that's not the case. When you get on the gas, it feels responsive and immediate and with very minimal lag. So when you do want to drive fast and you do want to hustle, this engine is there giving you that sort of performance. But at the same time, it's also refined, it's also quiet, it's very composed, and at city speeds, at low speeds, it's just a smooth, refined 6-cylinder luxury car engine. Would I have liked a 40D? Honestly, no. I'm quite happy with this. This is plenty power, this is plenty torque. At no point during today's drive, whether it was uphill, whether it was downhill, whether it was in the city, whether it was on the highway, did I feel the need for more power. This is more than adequate for a car like the X5, and it's really fun. Now remember, the X5 in India can also be had with the 40i, which is the 6-cylinder petrol engine. Now we haven't driven that just yet, but yeah, the 30D definitely shines, and I think it suits the character of the car. I said this for the X7 as well. I think the diesel engine, the torquiness of the diesel engine really suits the character of these big SUVs. Something that's new for 2023 on the X5 is the mild hybrid system. Now this is essentially a small starter motor generator that's integrated into the drivetrain, and what it essentially does is gives a little bit of hybrid boost when it needs torque fill, so small amount. So in terms of pure outputs, it's 12 horsepower and 200 Nm, exactly like the other BMWs that have now gotten this system. And basically under high load or when the turbos are still spooling up, it'll add in a little bit of boost to ensure that you feel less lag, and that's definitely apparent. You feel very little lag from this engine. Also, it allows you to regenerate energy. So under braking, you can regenerate energy, store it in the battery, and then deploy that energy later on when you need it. So should improve efficiency marginally, but does improve responses definitely. And that's another highlight on the drivetrain of the new BMW X5. And number 4, we have to talk about ride and handling in the chassis setup on this car. The X5, it does get 2-axle air suspension, but that's only on the M Sport version. So the X lines, they don't get air suspension. In terms of the way it drives, I think it's really refined in terms of the way it rides and handles. Ride quality is good. Yes, there's a firm edge to it on really sharp bumps. That's a consequence of the large wheels. 21s as standard on this. So you do have to be careful over really large bumps. But most of the time, for most driving conditions, for most city roads and stuff like that, you'll be adequately comfortable. Stick it into comfort mode and it does a good job of ironing out most of the bumps. It actually wafts along nicely over certain roads. It sort of isolates the road from the inside of the cabin really well, and that does give it a nice sense of comfort. When you stick it into sport mode though, it hunkers down. The air suspension lowers the ride height to improve the center of gravity, brings it lower down, and then what you're left with is a car that's a little firmer in terms of its ride quality, but is much more direct in terms of its handling. So steering quickens up, the ride quality, well, takes a hit, but the handling is really nice. So the steering quickens up, and with a firmer suspension, you can really attack corners without too much of a care in the world, knowing that the X5 will cooperate with you. Like the X7, it grips well, it handles well, you've got good confidence in the front end that it will go in the direction that you want it to. You can get back on the gas, no hesitation. Rear bias xDrive again. So you can drive this car hard, and you can drive it to enjoy yourself. You know, this isn't an SUV that you've got to hold back to drive. You know, a lot of these big SUVs, you've got to take it a little easy, drive around the limits of the car, make changes to your driving style, to your driving habits, because they don't stop as well, or they don't corner as well as other cars. But not the X5, you know, you can just drive it along as you would any car, any sedan, and it cooperates. Good dynamics, good control, great confidence behind the wheel. I think that's the secret, you know, when the responses to your inputs are so balanced and so understandable, you know, the car reacts in the manner that you expect it to react to. It gives you a lot of confidence as a driver. And overall, I think the X5 is really enjoyable to drive. You know, you get behind the wheel, you're comfortable, these nice, wide, comfy seats. You've got great music playing on the Harman Kardon system, a really nice sounding sound system, and you can enjoy your drive. This is a car that you want to be in this seat. I mean, you can be in the back seat, it's not all bad, but this is where the X5 is best enjoyed from. Number 5, we have to talk about the prices. The X5, it starts at rupees 95 lakhs ex-showroom, goes all the way up to rupees 1.08 crores for this variant, the top of the line 30D M Sport. At that price, you're getting an SUV that's really competent, it's really nice to drive, it's a comfortable back seat, and most importantly, it feels modern for 2023. The dashboard, it feels techy and it feels contemporary. If I was in the market for an SUV around the rupees 1 crore mark, this would be at the top of my list, because I'm a driver, I love to drive, and the X5, it indulges that passion of mine.